Fear. There is something intriguing about fear. It affects our bodies in very interesting ways. It is something that you could call primal, instinctual, or even animalistic. When the brain senses danger or gets scared, it goes into a response known as fight or flight. It releases chemicals with the structures in the base of the brain, and adrenaline is released. Your heart rate and blood pressure rise as you act without thought, as an internal drive pushes you past your limits. That instinctual reaction, the rush that overcomes, that intensity that it brings, is what makes the genre of horror so interesting as we try to scare ourselves and others. For a long time when I was younger, I was too anxious to allow myself to delve into the overwhelming extremes and missed out on a lot. One of the horror platforms that intrigues me most is horror games, as they are not just meant to scare you, but are meant to be interactive experiences. So over the next year I plan to play a bunch of games that I missed out on and try to really broaden my horizons as a horror fan. I have found a range of games that come from different generations, studios, and different gameplay concepts, as I do my best to try to deep dive into what makes a horror game effective. With that objective in mind, I have put together a list that I think encompasses a horror video game experience and the abilities of the creator to use these concepts to determine how good a horror experience is for the player. They are presentation, setting, story, control, health, weapons, resources, checkpoints and saves, punishment, characters and enemies, scares, and immersion. These 12 concepts should work together and make a horror experience successful or not. The formula is not quite set in stone though, as these 12 aspects can be changed, switched around, and thrown on their head to really make the player uncomfortable. Knowing this, I plan to look at a variety of games to really see the horror experience and see how it can be twisted to make it fresh and interesting. So stay tuned. I will be releasing videos at the end of each month showing my findings and the ideas on that month's aspect of horror. As I experience games and really come to understand the concept of horror and get to see the pieces of history along the way, I plan to educate myself and those who come along to enjoy the ride. So next time, we will jump into a presentation of video games and how that affects our overall experience. So see you then on Aspects of Horror.